Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Werfel, would you introduce the lady who's sitting behind you who's been working for the IRS for 53 years?
Diane Grant.
Thank you for your decades of service. And she's also from Tennessee, Senator Blackburn. I think we mentioned that earlier.
Winchester.
Yeah. Mr. Werfel, quick, I don't expect you to have an answer for it. If you do, it wouldn't surprise me, but I wouldn't expect it. Can you give me to date the fully burdened cost of the free filing system implementation?
I wouldn't want to do that, Senator, only because the pilot is still running as I'm sitting here.
Yep.
So it would be premature.
I didn't expect it.
Within days. By the end of April.
I don't want just the IRS internal cost. I want fully burdened. So
Understood.
Other actors, so that we really understand the nature of the investment. A quick question on that as the pilot's moving forward. I think that you all are implementing an API that automatically loads AGI, adjusted gross income.
Yeah.
Something the industry and some of the free filing alliances asked for years. What's the posture of the agency in providing that API to authenticated third parties?
I will look into that. I mean, we were talking to taxpayers who are using the direct file solution, and there was some confusion around how to get to your AGI amount, which is a key moment in your tax filing process from the previous year. Absolutely willing to talk. Those partners are partners who provide those commercial software. We work very closely with them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I just
They're
think
terrific.
If it's a tool that's going to be available to free filing, we can deal with whatever privacy security concerns that there may be, but it doesn't seem fair or appropriate to have that additional step.
We will look into it, sir.
I, for one, hope that that this pilot, this thing you're working on right now, at some point you just decide it's not worth it because the private sector options are so much better, it becomes a distraction. That's my personal bias. I know I can't believe, I was trying to figure out a way that I could ask this question that wouldn't get you in hot water. But I admire your background. That's why I supported your confirmation. And so far I'm happy with what I've seen. But I just can't imagine a project of this scale, if you were coming in and trying to fix all the things that need to be addressed or modernized in the IRS, that you would have been pounding the table saying this has to be one of my top 5 initiatives in my tenure. I mean, can you at least stipulate that while this may be nice, it's not one of the most important things that the IRS be dealing with right now?
It's such a difficult question to answer because there's so much that goes into it. I will say that as we try to hear from taxpayers, and it's not an exact science, right, in terms of what you're hearing from different constituents, there are loud voices out there who want this solution.
And again, I'm not going to get you in hot water, but it just defies logic. I worked in consulting profession for years. I implemented a lot of financial system platforms. I never went into a client and said, you know what, we should just build it from ground up. We should do this differently. So what's disturbing to me or disappointing to me is I haven't seen a fully executed strategy on exhausting all the possibilities for free filing, for pay filing, for being able to file for free on some of the for pay platforms. It just seems to me that we could have found another way to fix a problem. And so instead of just using a fly swatter to address some of the problems that some of the IRS filers were having, we decided to create a thermonuclear detonation device to do the same thing.
Can I share with you?
Seems like a $100 saddle on a $10 horse.
I'll share with you one benefit from all of this is that we saw a substantial increase in the number of people that filed for free electronically across all platforms this year. 2 million more people filed electronically for free.
Well, and
there was so much attention on it.
If we'd spent just a fraction on the money of this platform that we're putting in place, that we're going to have to care and feed and then modernize 10 years from now and so on and so forth, it just seems like there would have been a better way to achieve the goal. If the goal was to provide cost-effective or no-cost filing options, there were other options out there. So I know you're doing your job. Tax gap, I hear people, and I'm just going to make a comment, not even ask you to, I think your goal right now, if you're a successful IRS commissioner, you're going to succeed in not having the tax gap grow. you're not going to dramatically reduce the tax gap because we can get into a variety of reasons why it exists at the high end of the spectrum or the low end of the spectrum. But is it fair to say that those of us up here who may see a half, I don't know, let's say $500 billion, whatever the latest number is of uncollected taxes.
660. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that people up here that think that's a smoking good pay for are probably not being realistic about your ability to just zero out that tax gap?
It's a difficult enterprise to undertake. If you'll notice, when
I will go ahead and roll because I want to be respectful of other folks' time, but I want to get back with you on progress with the tax gap. Thank you.
My colleague, and it's an important